Hey everybody, it's Kit here. Happy Tuesday, and welcome back to the Brooks Legacy. We are with Generation 3, and we're with Oscar. And yeah, so we're actually getting close to where about the same time when this picture was taken, funnily enough. It is time to see what he's thinking of this Winterfest vacation. And yeah, so I don't really have much else to say, but I hope you guys are having a good week. So let's get into it. The Brooks are officially on a little vacation, but unlike when they went to Granite Falls when Oscar was a little tyke, he's a lot bigger now, and being bigger comes with worries. Like about his big brother Kaysen, who he believes is sinking further and further into bad habits. But Kaysen wasn't listening to him, and it was getting rather frustrating, to say the least. Kaysen, you didn't bring any with you, right? Any what, little brother? Just don't. Not while we're here on this family trip. Not during Winterfest. Shut up. I'm not doing anything wrong. Mind your own beeswax. Right. It was also Winterfest, which meant Father Winter and presents. But honestly, that was just a little blip of the trip. Oscar doesn't even remember what he received. He had other things to think about. Like that it was his other sibling's birthday, and he wanted her to have a memorable one. First, with being just a little bit naughty and sneaking out after her bedtime to have some snow fun. Zyla had two big brothers, and Oscar often felt she was in the middle of a pair of weights, or examples. Kaysen was the example being led by the devil, and Oscar was trying to be the counterbalance. Zyla was different, and the older she got, the more she would realize it. Their dad had his reasons for being strict, and Oscar was afraid things would only get harder for her. He didn't want her to take after Kaysen and whatever he was doing. There had to be a balance somewhere, right? Tonight, in this here and now, that balance was doing a little bit of bad and sibling bonding. The bad was sneaking out, but the good was bonding and making great memories for years to come. Good experiences. Things to remember for the next life stage to come, and reasons to keep going when the difficult times came. Because Oscar couldn't help but think of the one family member that was missing during this Brooks family trip. His cousin, Marin. Family has always been important to the Brooks. All of the kids had been raised with that mentality. Then there was her. Where did Marin go? Was she taken? Or did she run away? Oscar knew the statistics. They weren't good. But if she had run away, why run away from their family? Why? He couldn't understand it, and it scared him. Because if it could happen to Marin, it could happen to his little sister. He wasn't always going to be around to protect Zai when she was going through it. He was going to college soon, or to do an internship, if he got one. He didn't want Sayala to be taken, or to run away. He didn't want her to make bad decisions that could lead to either of those outcomes, or for things to happen, for the pieces to fall into place like that. So, Oscar figured out a way to tell her that, and not so many words, hiding his true fears deep inside. Sayala was still little and innocent. If Oscar was being real honest, he kind of resented the circumstances that led him to being so grown up like this. The worries that ate him inside, and the dreadful anxiety. But it was that anxiety that drove the need to protect his little sister, because he knew Kaysen wouldn't. Zyla wouldn't always share things with their parents. Look at him and Kaysen, they were living proof. But she would share with him. they pinky promised. It would have to be enough. It was going to be enough. But for the rest of the night, Oscar put the looming anxiety to the side, determined to enjoy this vacation and secret time with his sister. It was her birthday, and it was their Winterfest vacation. They got to ski for the first time ever, and he was going to make the most of it. However, the video tutorials that he and Zayala had watched together prior to their first Bunny Hill ski experience had made things seem a lot easier than they actually were. Oscar hit the ground so hard his bones were vibrating against his backside, and he saw stars for a solid 30 seconds. Maybe he should put on a helmet. But what was perseverance without bravery? And despite being afraid of making an epic fall that could result in a rabbit hole hospital visit, Oscar kept trying, over and over until he was confident, check it, brave enough to try the real beginner slope. You would think having two boards strapped to your feet would be like ice skating a bit, and easier than having your feet strapped to one board. But nope, he almost did the splits and wiped out 17 times on the way down. But oh man, it was exhilarating when he made it. All of the skiing was tiring, but in a very welcome way. No responsibilities, no schoolwork or chores. And with all the physical exertion, Oscar found himself worrying less. It was really nice, and he often napped in between activities, usually by Whiskers. Kaysen's cat seemed to like to hang out with Oscar more than Kaysen. And Oscar wasn't too sure why, but for once he didn't think on it too hard. Skiing wasn't the only activity Oscar tried out on the mountain. He also gave mountain climbing a try, and in a way he liked it more than skiing. Skiing was fast-paced, but rock climbing was a marathon. He liked how it was slower, taking more physical exertion to hold yourself to the rock face, while also playing a game of Tetris, plotting out the best route to make it up to victory. But when Red came to check on him, he took a breather to pet his favorite fox. "Hey, buddy, how's it going?" He ruffled Red's ears. The family fox, of course, came on vacation with them, and had been keeping himself busy bouncing between each family member, checking on them. Oscar's mom had tried to put a coat on Red, but he managed to slip it off as soon as she wasn't looking. At least his natural fur coat was keeping him fairly warm. Then it came time for the big event of the trip, Sayala's birthday. His little sister grew into a beautiful young lady, and he already knew the guys would be knocking. Oscar was going to have to work double time to make sure no unsavory dudes messed with her. He'd also have to come up with a plan for any potential bullies, or extraterrestrial visitors. He really hoped there weren't going to be any of the latter. He didn't know what to do if other Sixamians came a-knockin'. He hoped his dad had that one covered, but it wouldn't hurt to come up with his own plan, right? Point is, Oscar was going to be the big protective brother she needed, whether she wanted that or not. But first, he had to give her a present. "Happy birthday, Zai. I got you something." Her eyes lit up, and he was thrilled to see she enjoyed her surprise. "A camera? Thank you, Oscar." "You're welcome. I can't wait to see what photos you take with it." He'd noticed her take little photos with her dad's phone, or with any camera she could get her hands on. And Zyla has always had a unique perspective on the world. Maybe now with her own camera, she could share it with everyone. And in the final hours of their Mount Komorabi trip, Oscar found himself rock climbing once more. He'd like to come back one day and continue to challenge himself on the taller walls, and maybe reach the top of the mountain, or maybe go on one of those big summit climbing trips he'd heard the guides talking about. Maybe one day, after university. Maybe one day he'd be back. And that is it for Oscar's part. I did say this was going to be a Oscar and Kaysen thing, by the way. No, Andy's tomorrow. I'm sorry. I thought Kaysen was coming up right after. I don't know how I got that mixed up. So Kaysen will be next week. But yeah, we're gonna have Andy tomorrow. So yay for that. Um, but yeah, Oscar's got. He really does have stuck in the middle, but he's also taking on more responsibility than he should have to. But he has a really good brother to Zai, and she needs that. It is unfortunate that he's probably right because, there's one thing about the Brooks Generation 3 kids, it's that they don't share the crap that's going on with their lives and like the big bad stuff with their parents. Doesn't really either they share and it doesn't go well, or they just don't share and they just go, "We're fine." Maybe I'm self-projecting just a little bit. Shh, nobody knows that. Anyway, but yeah, I hope y'all enjoyed this. I, as you can see, am obsessed with taking photos of the snow and the snow sports and rock climbing. I really like that last photo actually of Oscar, which is partly why I picked it for his teenager thumbnail. But yeah, I just really, God, I love this pack. I have yet to do an actual big summit trip, like where my Sims get to the top of the mountain. I have not done that. Have y'all done that? Let me know. Um, but yeah, so anyways, Andy will be tomorrow. Um, and yeah, so thank y'all so very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope y'all have a great rest of the week. And don't forget, where the waters flow, legacies grow. Bye!